The Bride of the Snake King. Alabi and his childhood sweetheart, Arike, were desperate for a child after 5 years of marriage, without even a miscarriage. Arike's father never approved of their union, always making it clear that Alabi was not wealthy enough to deserve his daughter, who was an only child and a reminder of his late wife. After much crying and begging, he finally allowed Arike to marry Alabi, but after 2 years without her conceiving, he became determined to take his daughter back. Blaming Alabi for not being man enough, he gave Alabi a timeline of 3 months, and it was already 2 months. A friend of Arike, Olaide, who had married into the neighboring village, came to visit her parents and coincidentally met Arike on her way to the stream. At the stream, the two got talking and Olaide disclosed how in her husband's village they had a fertility tree where women who wanted children would go with their husbands to ask for children. She bragged about how every child gotten from the fertility tree were extremely good looking. Arike quickly thanked her friend and hurried home to inform Alabi of her newfound idea. They would be going to the neighboring village at the crack of dawn the next day to ask for their own child. The next day, the couple arrived at the fertility tree when the sun was high in the sky. They got there to find that the day they chose to come was not an auspicious day, and the probability of getting their heart's desire was low. Regardless, Arike refused to leave, and she and Alabi agreed to wait no matter how long it took to get their request heard. That night, as they laid under the tree, Arike began to burn up and Alabi got scared. Alabi, who was a son of a herbal doctor, knew little about herbs. He walked into a bush path searching for a particular leaf with a lantern and saw a snake resting at the exact spot the plant was. Determined to heal his wife by all means, he picked a big stick about to hit the snake when he realized the snake seemed hurt. For reasons he could not explain, he picked the herb and was surprised the snake didn't attack. He made the concoction he needed for Arike and left some behind for the snake. By morning, Arike was healed, but the couple still had another day to wait for a chance to request a child. Arike, who was stronger, decided to go to the stream with her husband to wash their bodies. As they passed the same bush path, Alabi took the night before. He began to tell Arike about the snake and the herbs. As they got closer to the stream, the couple met a big snake and fear gripped Arike. But in a blink of an eye, the snake began to speak. "Thank you for your help," it said, staring at Alabi. "My help?" Alabi stammered, confused. The snake went further to ask why these strangers were in the village. "How do you know we are strangers?" Arike asked. "Every villager knows not to take this path. It belongs to me. But since you have taken it 2 days in a row, it's either to spite me or you are strangers." Alabi explained how his father-in-law was determined to take his wife from him unless they conceived a child, and that was why they had come to ask for a child from the fertility tree. The snake began to laugh, and this surprised Arike, who felt it was mocking their situation. "The fertility tree is just a tree," it said. "I just happen to be around that tree on certain days when it's too hot in this part. And while I'm in the tree, if a person cries out long enough, I grant them a child. I no longer visit that tree as the noise has become too much. You would have wasted your effort," it said. It crawled around Alabi, circling the couple, and used its tail to hold onto Arike's legs. After it was done, it said, "You have a child, but I will require her as a bride when she is of age. If you agree, you shall conceive." "Why would you want my child as a bride?" Arike argued. "Do you collect the other children you give?" "The other children I give die at a young age. I give them to desperate parents long enough for their desired child to come. But you have no destined children in your future." I will give you this child if you will give her back as a bride at the right time. She will not die but bring honor to you as parents. At the age of 20, bring her back to this part, the snake said, who introduced himself as Enebe. Arike and Alabi agreed, thinking that as long as people knew them as parents, they would be fine. They thought they had made a good deal, but they didn't realize the consequences of their promise. After some days, Arike began to display symptoms of pregnancy. 9 months down the line, she delivered the most beautiful baby the entire village had ever seen. Arike's father became so attached to his granddaughter. He apologized to Alabi for being hard on him. If my daughter had married someone else, I wonder if my granddaughter would be this beautiful, he often boasted. At age 10, the baby girl, Ewatomi, began to experience unexplainable things. One day, as she went on an errand for her grandfather, she was met with a snake. But unlike most children her age, she felt no fear towards it and began to stare at the snake, admiring its scales and eyes. A passerby who knew her hurried over, scared the snake would bite her, and killed the snake. Ewatomi cried so hard, and by the next day, she fell so sick. Alabi and Arike decided to stop Ewatomi from going anywhere close to the bushes, as they didn't want her to witness a dead animal again, assuming she was just scared from seeing a dead animal. But as Ewatomi grew, she seemed to be drawn to snakes. She would sneak from home to play with snakes, and her parents didn't know this. As she kept it a secret, she felt more comfortable around snakes than she did with humans. As Ewatomi approached her 20th birthday, her parents began to worry about the promise they had made to Enebe. They had tried to forget, but the snake's words echoed in their minds. They knew they had to honor their agreement, but the thought of giving their beloved daughter to a snake was unbearable. One day, as they sat in their hut, discussing their concerns, Ewatomi walked in. Her beauty radiating like the sun. She sensed their worry and asked what troubled them. Alabi and Arike exchanged a glance, hesitant to reveal the truth. But Ewatomi's piercing eyes saw through their silence. "Tell me," she said, her voice gentle but firm. "What's bothering you?" Arike took a deep breath and began to explain, her voice trembling. "We made a promise, Ewatomi, to the snake Enebe. He granted us a child, and in return, we agreed to give you to him as a bride when you turned 20. Ewatomi's expression changed from curiosity to shock. She had never imagined such a fate. But as she looked at her parents, she saw the desperation in their eyes, the fear of losing her. "Don't worry," she said, her voice steady. "I'll go to Enebe. I'll honor your promise." Alabi and Arike were taken aback by their daughter's bravery. They had expected her to refuse, to rebel against the fate they had unwittingly chosen for her. But Ewatomi's words were laced with a sense of duty and loyalty to her family. The day of her 20th birthday arrived, and Ewatomi prepared to leave. Her parents accompanied her to the part where they had first met Enebe. The snake was waiting, his eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity. As Ewatomi stood before him, Enebe spoke, his voice low and hypnotic. "You have grown into a radiant woman, Ewatomi. I will not take you as my bride, as you have honored your parents' promise. Go back and be the daughter I promised your parents you would be. The paths to the forest will always know you. Snakes will always obey you, because you bear the mark of the Snake King's bride." And with that, Enebe disappeared into the darkness, leaving Alabi and Arike to wonder what would have happened if they had broken their promise. Thanks for watching. If you've watched this far, please smash the like button, subscribe, leave a positive comment, and check out my other videos. As always, see you in my next video. Bye, besties.